Hello and welcome to this edition of Now You Novi. I am Damon here with my good friend Aaron, and we are going to talk about the hot button topic of every spring, the topic everybody loves, road construction.
I don't know about loves.
Oh, they love it.
They definitely want to talk about it.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Happy New Year.
As it means the construction starts?
Yes.
Very happy New Year.
So we got a few projects going on, right?
There are a few of them that are ours, few that are others.
A few county projects, a few Novi projects. So Let's just hit it right off the top to talk about the big one, Beck Road between 11 and Grand River.
Mm-hmm.
Give me an update on that.
So the traffic configuration is southbound only.
Mm-hmm.
That will be that way for the entire project, no matter which side of the road is being worked on. Currently, they're working on the southbound lanes. Most of the asphalt has already been milled away, and they are about halfway complete with replacing the elliptical culvert, the stormwater culvert, just south of Heritage Drive, so between Heritage and 11 Mile. And they have shifted traffic over to that side, and they'll be installing the west half of it probably this week. And then it'll be starting on probably a month and a half of storm sewer all along the southbound west side.
So this isn't just, it's a pretty big project. It's reconstruction, right? Not just.
It's a full reconstruction to maintain that 5 lanes that you currently have north of Grand River and continuing that down all the way to 11 Mile.
So we're widening the road.
Widening it in most of the areas. We're enclosing a lot of the ditches that are alongside the road with new storm sewer and sidewalk upgrades and whatnot, and traffic signal upgrades, especially at Providence.
So it'll be nice once it's done. It should help traffic flow.
Yes.
Especially towards right around the hospital.
Yeah, especially with the hospital and those folks heading southbound. They're always trying to race each other in that that right lane that's supposed to be dedicated for right turns into the hospital, but
no way. I don't believe that.
Yeah. Hopefully it should be a lot better.
A couple questions that we've gotten about that project. Why is it being widened?
Mainly for the future capacity of Novi. And we're Beck Road experiences a lot of traffic to begin with. We're just trying to get out ahead of it the best we can. And hopefully in the future, all the way from Walled Lake and Wixom, we'll have it maybe 5 lanes from Pontiac Trail all the way to 7 Mile, where it's currently 5 lanes down in Northville. That's the overall projected look, but we're just tackling what we can afford to do on our own right now.
Sure. Another question we've gotten is, so the road is 1 lane, but even south of 11 Mile. And I've gotten a couple questions about why is it blocked south of 11 Mile?
Oh,
going past even the Bosco Fields entrance.
Yes. Since they're working right up to 11 Mile, there's not enough room to shift traffic back over into the correct lanes. And we're not allowed by state law and Oakland County standards to shift traffic while you're in an intersection. That's too dangerous. So we have to extend it through the intersection and then start breaking them in back afterwards. So I know it's been a headache, and it's hard for people to understand. There is a safety reason for what we're doing out there. And hopefully that'll just be the first stage, just while they're working on the southbound side.
Okay.
When we shift traffic back onto the southbound side where they're supposed to be, we can probably open it back up to 11
Mile. You'll be
Mile.
able to go straight through.
At least come to 11 Mile, and they'll have an option.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So Piggybacking off of that, and this is gonna segue into our next road that we're gonna talk about. But the question we always get is, why are you working on that road while Novi Road is also being worked on, and you've got all the detours blocked off, and don't you guys communicate?
We put our best laid plans to work every year, every season, sometimes 5 years out. We meet with Oakland County and MDOT and try to schedule all our projects so that they work seamlessly and not conflicting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that is really just for budget's sake.
Mm-hmm.
When it actually goes into construction, there are various problems that each of us get involved with permitting and affordability, and
there could be utilities in the way. There's a short construction season. People forget that we don't have road construction year round like some of the other areas in the South. So we have a very short window to do a lot of work sometimes.
Yes.
And sometimes they overlap.
And yeah, like I said, there were best laid plans when we started, and sometimes we just don't have a choice. It's might be use it or lose it money, and it has to go in a certain time period.
Okay.
And like I said,
when the funding is coming from an external source, whether it's a grant or federal funding or something.
And everything comes from an outside source these days. Yeah. So you don't have a choice, really.
Yeah. And another question, piggybacking off of that, do you coordinate with the schools when you lay out your plans for road construction?
Most definitely. Those there are 3 public entities we deal with on every project, no matter what, and that's schools, mail, and garbage. We try to coordinate with all 3 of those, not just for access, but for communication before and during and after construction. It's really important that those 3 services are dealt with, because then the residents are a lot more happier that those things are continuing.
Right. And that's important I want to reiterate that planning could be a 5-year long process, and all of the stakeholders are involved in that process at some point before the work begins. Yep.
Never mind that construction is not going to please everyone.
Well, sure. It's a pain sometimes. It takes a minute for people to get used to it and readjust their way to work, and it's a disruption to their regular way of doing things, which I completely, I'm empathetic to that. I can completely understand that.
Totally.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next project, Novi Road between 8 and 9 Mile.
That's a road commission for Oakland County project. It is the 2nd year of that project. The last year they did from 8 Mile up to about Galway Drive. That was a full reconstruct of that weird curve that's down on the south end. This year is more of a rehab with a little bit of widening in it. And that's from Galway Drive up to 9 Mile. They're currently, that's project that's southbound only also. And that'll be that way no matter which side of the road they're working on. They're currently working on the southbound side, just like Beck Road. It'll be like that for a few months, and then they'll switch over and do the same thing.
Okay. And then when is that completion approximately for Novi Road?
Contractually, I think they're November 1st.
Okay. And then what about Beck Road? I forgot to ask you about that. When do we think Beck Road will be?
Beck Road is November 1st or 15th.
Okay. So mid-November.
Yeah.
Taking into consideration whatever weather may happen and
who knows,
all the various things that happen.
Maybe weather turns out great and they finish early.
And they finish early, right? That would be amazing. Right?
One could wish.
All right. 8 Mile Road Bridge. What do you know about that one?
It's under the jurisdiction of the Wayne County Department of Public Services. It's been on everybody's radar for about 10 years. They finally got some budget and some dollars to work with, and that was the main precursor to get it going. Got a decent contractor on board. They shut down when they said they were going to shut it down, which was March 2nd. And they've been working.
Well, sort of, because they talked about it last season, but
Yeah.
they had to delay it because of utility work, right?
Existing utilities that they didn't even know were there.
Right. Which happens. And I've learned since being in this position and working with you for the last couple of years that you never know what you're going to run into once you start digging. You know, like you just said, best laid plans, like the reality is sometimes different once you start working.
Yeah, AT&T had thought they moved all their existing infrastructure off and around that bridge. And even they didn't know what they had out there. They found another main conduit. So, oh, that's ours as well, and we need that. So,
oh my!
So they had to find a place and a way to work around the bridge again.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So, let's swing north to Novi Road, the medians north of 12 Mile.
From 12 to 13 Mile. Yep. So they're kind of depressed medians, naturalized.
Were they sad?
Yeah, they're very sad. Sad to be going. So we're going to invert them and turn them into raised concrete islands.
Okay.
Rather than their current look.
So the current style, what was the idea behind the current style of median?
One
was it
for
natural drainage or something?
It was for natural drainage. It was also, I forget what you call it, kind of a break up the visual aspect of it, kind of naturalize it, make it seem more, I can't think of the word for it.
Sure, more natural to the area.
Yeah.
I got you.
There's supposed to be, plants and trees and kind of ease your mind when you're
nice
driving
and
it.
Peaceful during
Yes.
So now the new design, what are the benefits to the new design besides the aesthetic look of it?
Maintenance primarily.
Okay.
They were very hard to maintain. Even though a lot of the plants were salt tolerant, we put down whatever during the winter. A lot of those plants were dying off, the weeds, and so we're constantly out there trying to take care of it. This is a much cleaner, and it'll be decorative concrete.
Okay.
When it's said and done, there'll still be some planter trees in there in the islands. It's kind of break things up a little bit.
I'm assuming
very low maintenance.
I'd hate to see Rick Meter out there in the middle of.
He would do it. Sorry, Rick.
Trying to take care of those plants. It's funny. So when is that project going to start?
That one, we since the time doesn't really matter too much, we decided to hold off until schools lets out.
Okay.
You talked about schools before, so that was one we just. It's just going to be one lane in each direction, probably the outside lane in each direction provided. And it won't need a detour or anything, but and we can wait.
And that'll be what, about a 3-month project?
Maybe not even that.
Okay.
It might be 2 months, 2.5 months.
Okay.
It should go rather quickly. That's so June 8th, we're looking to get started.
All right, sounds good. Coordinating with the schools again.
Doing our part.
And it'll still be aesthetic and peaceful as you drive north on Novi.
Maybe more so.
Another project you guys have is the connecting ITC Trail to Bosco Fields. How's that going?
It started out really quick. The tree contractor came out and cleared the easement boardwalk and asphalt pathway area, and it only took them like 2 days, which was a lot of work. And then we got a bunch of rain, just a ton of rain. And the next contractor to come in would be the helical piers. That's what the boardwalk will sit on. An easier foundation. That equipment is quite heavy, and they would just lose it in the earth. In
the muck and mire.
Yeah. So they need things to dry out a little bit. I think they're out there currently.
Okay. That'll be a nice feature to connect the ITC trail to.
Very much. Yeah. We've gotten a lot of people asking about, you really should do a connection from here to here. Hey, we're working on one.
Imagine that. Yeah. Village Wood Road.
Yes.
What's happening there?
That is currently a very wide boulevard
Okay.
from Cranbrook to Haggerty.
Yes.
We're going to be shrinking that footprint down to just one car width
Okay.
lane in both directions, because it's a lot to maintain, a lot of snow to clear. People are parking all over the street, and a
And they're
lot
not
of people.
supposed to park on that street, correct?
Yes, they're not supposed to be. So we're just trying to remove that, that itch that you may have. So it needs a lot of storm sewer work. We're enclosing the storm sewer
Okay.
there because we've had a lot of problems with the existing ditches through there. And that will be eastbound only
Okay.
throughout the duration. That's what our fire department chose as their preferred route.
You coordinated with the fire department as well?
I always have to.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I tell them, or they tell me which direction they want.
Okay.
And we have to design the project around that.
Well, I don't remember if are there sidewalks there?
There is not.
Will you be adding the sidewalk?
We will be adding sidewalk to the north side.
Okay, so it'll be a sidewalk from Cranbrook to Haggerty then?
Yes.
Okay.
And that will connect to the sidewalk that we installed on Cranbrook, 7, 8 years ago?
Look at that.
Wow,
Look how
it's been
things
that
come
long
together. It's just like it was almost like you just
Method to our madness.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. So another county project, 12-mile road from Novi Road, which actually goes all the way to Farmington Road. But let's talk about the Novi portion of that.
So it's a large project. MDOT and federal funding needed because it's an expensive one, even though it's mostly rehab work.
Mhm.
It's not reconstruct. It's split up into 2 years, 4 stages. One of the main stages, stage 1 would be the first one, has a lot to do with Novi to Haggerty. And the first stage will be Novi to Meadowbrook. They'll be rehabbing concrete and asphalt on both ends. And they'll always have one lane provided in each direction. Shouldn't be needing any detours. It might get, since 12-mile carries such a large traffic
It
load.
does, yeah. I was going to ask about that.
It would be my recommendation if you can find another route around it, I would do so.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that choice. So expect some backups.
Okay. All right. So is that it for the bigger projects for this year?
I think so. I don't know if you want to talk about GLWA and the 14-mile road. It's still road construction.
Sure.
Well, now it's road construction.
Go for it. Yeah.
So the
Well, let's only the road part.
Well, the pipe work is all done finally.
Oh, so you weren't supposed to say that. So you
Yeah.
were supposed to say only the road part.
And which leads us to the road part. So now we went through all that. And well, those poor residents.
So
did.
let me clarify. When at this moment that we're talking right now, when we say the pipe work is done, that means that the pipe is in place,
Correct. Installed,
and connected.
connected. Now it needs to go through several testing phases.
Yes.
Filling it and flushing it and disinfecting it and
Yeah.
pressure testing it. And
Okay.
Yeah,
I just wanted to clarify because I'm not sure when people will hear
yeah,
this.
we're
and I
not
don't
jumping right into
I don't
road
want to say
construction.
any false expectations here.
Yeah.
All right. So pipe is where it should be. And then the next phase would be road construction. They've already opened 14-mile westbound between M5 and the lake. What's
Yep.
the next phase?
So it is all the way open, westbound only.
Mm-hmm.
And it will probably continue to stay in that configuration through road construction. So bear with them a little bit longer. Probably need another 5-6 months to
Okay.
get the road restored back to something that they can drive on.
Yeah. So it'll be winter, theoretically. November.
Probably late fall.
Okay. So October, November-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But still progress being made.
Progress being made.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Anything else you want to talk about with the major roads?
Did we hit everything?
Well, let's talk
Not
about
with majors.
Okay,
I
let's
think we
talk
got 'em
about
all.
next year's season because I got a few hot questions for you.
Okay. You probably know better than I do.
All right, so next year, 2027 construction season, you have a few roundabouts going in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the first one. We already talked about Beck Road. So Beck Road and 11 Mile. Why in the world are you putting a roundabout at Beck Road and 11 Mile? I can't tell you how many times I've gotten that question.
It's a tough one to answer until you've seen it in action.
Okay.
A lot of people don't like roundabouts to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
but when they're multi-lane, anything more than one, they get a little confused and frustrated and not sure what lane to be in. But once they're in place and working the way they're going to work, they move traffic through so much easier, especially north and south. So Beck Road itself, we get so many backups currently, even without construction, at 11 Mile because it's hard to get just a few cars through and still trying to maintain that massive amount of vehicular traffic on Beck. So this will self-correct a lot of the traffic situations that you see. And I think it's a little bit more of a modern roundabout than what we have experienced in the past.
So will it be a single lane roundabout or a multi-lane?
A little of both.
Okay.
There will be dedicated lanes that'll be easy to tell.
So like at Napier and 10 Mile,
Yes.
would it be similar to that one?
Something similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That one, surprisingly, when I first drove through it, I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah. When you're just making 90s onto the next road up, it's so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Another roundabout going in at 11 Mile and Taft, right by the schools there.
Yes. Currently, that has been a problem, four-way stop for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We end up having to put traffic signals, blinking reds up there because people just weren't willing to abide by other people's right to go first.
Yeah, as a four-way stop.
Yeah. And this should help the fluctuation in traffic that you get when you're near so close to the bus garage and those schools. So those peak times of the day,
Right.
you can move traffic through all four legs so
The
much
pickup
easier.
and drop-off times really is the bigger concern there. Yeah.
Just a single lane roundabout is not difficult to trek through that.
Big question for that one. Will a school bus be able to fit through there?
Most
Have
definitely.
you thought about that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. Just checking. Just making sure, man. Just making sure.
I mean, I'm not the bus driver, so I mean, they could short it.
Another roundabout at 9 Mile and Napier, where the two sections of 9 Mile are kind of
Offset.
Offset.
We are working with, because both roads are, Napier is a road commissioner for Oakland County.
Mm-hmm.
So it's mainly their project. Just the one south 9 Mile is considered our jurisdiction, our road, but it's primarily RCOC's road. But we're helping out with the easement acquisition process. There are some easements we need to obtain from adjacent property owners.
Okay.
Not necessarily for the roundabout, more for the sidewalk improvements that are going in around it. So we need a little extra right away.
And so the problem at that intersection is actually like two intersections almost the way the road is.
Yeah.
So we're trying to increase safety and reduce accidents and blind spots and all that stuff.
Yes. Napier is posted, not posted with a speed limit.
Yeah.
So it's press on regardless out there.
And it's a straight shot, buddy.
And it's not very good sight distance, especially at 9 Mile in either direction, either from Novi or South Line.
Is there an elevation? Is there a hill there as well?
There is. Yeah. So those people can't see making a left out of there. And cars coming their way at a good clip,
Yeah.
50, 60 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And they're on top of you before you know it. This should help out immensely.
Is that design complete yet? I saw that there was like 2 or 3 different options. I don't know which
I think
one
they're
yet.
about 90%
Okay.
on the plans.
Okay.
As soon as they figure out the easement issues, then they'll finalize them.
Okay. All right. One last project, Novi Road between 13 and 14
Yes.
for 2027. What's
Yeah.
happening there?
Just the asphalt pavement is in really poor condition.
Okay.
Over the last 3 or 4 years, we've slowly swapped out, and removed and replaced a lot of curbing on that section, so we don't have to get into that when the project starts. So it could be, since it's 5 lanes wide, normally that's a big project, but maybe we can do it a lot quicker if we're just dealing with the asphalt.
So it's only, what do you guys call it? A mill and fill, sort of?
Currently,
Yeah.
yeah. But we're trying to determine if we need to mill down the full depth of the asphalt and build it back up.
Okay.
We've got some cores and borings in from our geotechnical experts, and they're going to tell us what depth we need to go
You
to.
work with experts?
I've heard they exist.
It's crazy.
I rely on them.
Don't we all?
Yes. Yeah.
Very good. Last thing, neighborhood roads,
Yes.
where we know that something is going to be happening with asphalt and concrete, but I don't know yet. I'm sure you know, and your experts probably know. What can you tell us about neighborhood roads program this year?
I can tell you we're a little behind the 8 ball
Okay.
this year, as opposed from previous years. We normally like to have a list of streets and bid out by this time. This is taking a little bit longer, several different reasons, but I don't need to go into. But we're looking at doing 2 contracts, separate contracts of asphalt,
Okay.
since we're so far way behind.
And these 2 companies be working simultaneously versus
Yes.
in the past, the one company would bounce around and
Yes.
Per the
So they're going to be simultaneous. Like you said, Michigan doesn't afford you that much time to
Right.
get it all done. So we need 2 separate contractors working at the same time and all throughout Novi. Just to try to identify that many candidates and the amount that goes into, a lot of the geotechnical work, and figure out what the best fix is for a particular road. It might differ from the one right next door. And then have to put that all back into the budget calculator and find out what we can afford.
Gotcha. So that's a good point, though. When you see, we've gotten a few calls, people are seeing surveyors out in their neighborhoods, markings. Sometimes it could be Mystic marking for fiber. Sometimes it's your experts and your consultants doing surveys and that sort of thing to figure out the right way to include those roads in the neighborhood road program. So just be patient when you see people out there. There's no conspiracy, or everybody's just trying to make things better.
Right. We're trying to collect as much data as we can so we can put a good program
So we can
on.
put a good program together. Right.
We didn't want to just completely do asphalt only. We do know there are some concrete streets that this winter was particularly harsh on a couple of roads that we thought were decent enough to get by so we can do this asphalt program. But that's not the case. There are a couple of them that blew up on us. So we have a smaller program of kind of concrete panel, maybe small full width areas to do. And we'll probably release that about the same time this summer.
Okay. So with all of those programs, with major road construction, neighborhood roads, and even sidewalk repair now, you'll see signage way ahead of time. I think we're 3 weeks out when we start putting out yard signs for neighborhood roads.
Yep.
And then there's door hangers, and then there's an actual construction notice that will come to your home. So
Yes.
we do the best that we can to try and communicate. And then everything is always going to be on the website, cityofnovi.org/Better Roads Ahead. There's the Facebook group, 2026 Novi Road Construction.
That's a mouthful.
There's the Sidewalk Repair Program webpage with information on that about the sidewalks. And we didn't talk about that this go around, but we will. Maybe we'll have Ken on to talk about that once he's ready to get started with that program. When do you think they'll start with sidewalks?
The bid opening is actually Monday, next Monday.
And it's a pretty big list, according to him.
It's a large program.
Yeah. I think he said something like almost 20% of the city.
It's like 20 subdivisions.
Yeah.
And some of those are rather large.
Yeah. Yeah. So point being, improvements are coming.
Yes.
Right? Those improvements are coming. So things will be safer. The roads will be easier to travel. And this is a good thing of Novi continuing to maintain our status as a premier city.
Love it.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining us. And did I forget anything?
No, I think we covered it pretty well.
Nice. All right.
As you always do.
Well, I try. I have all of your notes in my iPad so that I can.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, actually, I have all of the roads from the Better Roads Ahead program in my iPad, and our residents can go to Better Roads Ahead. They can go to the Sidewalk Repair Program page and get all of the information. We put updates there. Whenever there's an update with a project, we get a list from you every week. And then as things change, we do a progress update. So you can always stay up to date on the website. And then we try and share those as well as often as possible on social media on the Facebook page. So,
I saw your new right-of-way page.
Right?
Also.
Yeah. If you have any questions about fiber installations or any questions about the public right-of-way and work, what can and cannot happen in the public right-of-way, we have a new webpage, cityofnovi.org/ROW, row for rights of way. See, I'm always thinking. Try to keep it simple for you. And there's a lot of information there. There is a podcast episode there that sort of explains the fiber installation and the rights that those companies have versus the rights and what the city can do and what authority we have. We get a lot of questions about that. We have the Better Roads Ahead sidewalk program, rights of way. We're working on a sustainability webpage. So we are doing a lot to make sure that we're transparent and open with our residents. So for our Novi, as our story continues. That was a little play on the State of the City address. All right. Thank you very much, Aaron. I appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, thank you, Damon.
All right. Thank you all for watching/listening on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts to Now You Novi. You're supposed to do that with me.
I'm sorry.
Now
You
Novi.